we're always going to do the right thing. Pull for Alabama this weekend. All right. So it's first day of first grade, and Gary walks in and he sits down. He looks over and there's a guy sitting next to him, another first grader, and Gary says, "Hi, my name is Gary." The other guy says, "My name is Danny." Something clicks. From that moment on, they become thick as thieves, best buddies. You see one, you see the other. Teachers begin to say, if you see Gary, you're going to see Danny. If you see Danny, you're going to see Gary. They found out that if they both went out their backyards and crossed the neighbors behind them's houses in their subdivisions and went over one street, they practically lived in the same neighborhood. So they began to play with each other after school as they grew up. When Danny was around 10 years old, he told Gary, he said, "My family hadn't attended church in a long time, and we were thinking about attending church. Do you know any?" And he said, "Well, yeah, you could go with us." So Gary and Danny started attending the same church. Their families did, and they got even closer. And so both of them were baptized when they were about 13, 14 years old, and it was just everything all through school. They were right together. So it came their senior year, and Danny was a good student, but he was an average student. But Gary was top of the class. And so he was offered a prestigious scholarship to a very exclusive West Coast school, full ride. And Danny was all excited for him. And Gary said, "Man, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to leave my home." They lived on the East Coast. And he said, "I don't want to leave my home. I don't want to do that." And Danny told him, he said, "Look, man, this school, you got a full ride to this school. And you go out there, you do your 4 years, you come back in the summer and holidays, it'll go like that. You come back here, you can write your own ticket with a degree from that place. And look, we'll still do all the things that we talked about. We'll be each other's best man. We'll get houses close to each other. We'll raise our kids together. We'll go on vacation together. We'll retire and travel together. We've still got our whole lives ahead of us. It's just 4 years. You've got to do it." So Gary said, "Okay." So he goes, freshman year, it's Thanksgiving. He comes home for Thanksgiving and he visits his family, but he goes to see Danny. And they visit, and he notices that Danny's kind of lost a little weight, looks pale. He asked him about it, and he says, "Oh, man," he said, "I'm working 40 hours a week. I'm going to school at night, and it's just, just a fast pace. You don't worry about it. I'll be fine." So Gary gets on a plane, flies back to the West Coast. But he comes back for Christmas. His mother picks him up at the airport. They get in the car. He's all excited. She says, "Honey, I've got something I got to tell you. You remember when you were home Thanksgiving and Danny was pale and was losing weight?" She said, "Well, he was already having some tests run. He didn't want to tell you, but he has leukemia, and it's bad." And Gary said, "How bad?" She said, "Well, he's in the hospital. The doctors have told him that there's no hope. There's nothing they can do for him. He's waiting on you." And Gary said on that ride from the airport to the hospital, he replayed all those years, that first day in first grade, and all the things that they did together, and growing up together, and all the church stuff together, being baptized, and youth activities, and summer camps, and all those things. And they get to the hospital, and he gets on the elevator, and he's riding up the elevator, and he says, "Lord, I don't know what to say to my friend. You're going to have to help me because I don't know the words." And Gary walks in the hospital room, and there lays Danny, and he doesn't look much like the friend he remembered. He didn't know what to say. And the words didn't come. And so Danny spoke. And he looked up at Gary and he said, "Gary, do you know what it's like to live with no hope?" Gary, he just shook his head. And Danny smiled at him and said, "Neither do I." We must be ready to give an answer for the hope that lies within us. Because we don't know what it's like to live with no hope. Because we got Jesus. There's a whole lot of people who are out there living with no hope. And we've got to do something about it. So do something about that between now and you got 2 weeks for this assignment. And as you do it, you remember that I love you, that I believe in you, that I am praying for you by name. And I cannot wait to see all that God is going to do for you. God bless you. See you in a few weeks.